again, it was that raw savagery that they had.
Yeah.
It took years for them to dial it down, tone it down, figure out what to do business.
Right there. That's straight talk right there.
That's straight talk.
Hey,
Kiss
somebody,
my ass.
somebody has some straight talk with you too, Magnum. It's Courtney. Courtney Blanchard Allen says, Magnum, what would you like for dinner?
That'll wait, Courtney.
Yeah, we're doing Japanese tonight. She's not.
Ooh.
I know what we're doing.
It's great.
I bought myself a pork chop.
Did you? Ooh, man. I'm going to do some stir fry, I think, tonight. That's on my list. A little bit of stir fry. All right, let's see. Maybe we'll do one more question. Robert, dealer's choice on that? I screenshotted some other ones, too, so we'll get some more next week for sure. Whatever you want to choose. Here we go. Al Tuttle says, Greg, what was Vern's reaction to the Road Warriors when they refused to drop the tag titles to the Fabulous Ones? Do you remember that, Greg?
I think it was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. They said they were too small.
Really?
That's what the Road Warriors were saying.
Oh.
And they were a little difficult to work with.
Physically and professionally.
Physically and that, yeah. But no, that was just, they were so full of a lot of things.
Now, what was Paul with them during that?
Oh yeah, Paul was with them. He was a shit disturber. Vern trained.
Oh, was he?
Oh, he would get everybody worked up, with these quiet little, innuendos. And he would say, well, they're not big enough to beat the Road Warriors. Oh shit, anybody is if you do it right, And it was funny. Vern trained Gene and Ole Anderson and Lars.
Yeah.
And the Road Warriors were trained by a guy named Eddie Sharkey.
I've heard Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie, he's turned out some people, but when they come into the business, they're not ready for the business. They're not ready to be on top at all.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of learning to do, and they come in with an attitude that. So Vern sent Eddie wanted the Road Warriors here, and he said, well, let's send him down to Ole. Ole was a good friend of his. So he gets down to Ole, and Ole tells him, don't sell anything. Just beat the crap out of her, because they couldn't really have a match. And so that was their MO after that. When they came back, they started that with the Fabulous Ones, and it didn't go so well. But after that, we were able to have good matches with them, Jim and I, but we would do stuff that, Joe was a little out of hand one night.
Mm-hmm.
And took him down and worked the leg, and I put the Indian Deathlock on him. And his legs were so damn big, he didn't have to put much pressure on it. And he says, I'm going to kill you. And I said, well, you're not going to get out of here. And he sat up, and I slapped him as hard as I could. And he went down, put it on a little bit. Oh, you're going to break my leg. But, Vern had taught us enough how to protect ourselves,
mm-hmm.
and how we could slow the pace down. And and we were able to do that with them, and we earned their respect. So we had good matches with them. The Fabulous Ones were scared to death of them. Yeah. The Road Warriors knew it. So, they took advantage of them a lot, and it was tough. It was tough.
Gosh. Crazy. Well, according to AI here, I typed it in. I was like, who did Eddie Sharkey train? He also trained Rick Rude. Is that true too?
Yep. Rick Rude was another one that came out of there. Again, when those
guys. Barry Darsow come out of there?
That's what I was
Barry did, but Barry had a better feel for the business than the other ones did.
Mm.
The other ones were bodybuilders.
Yeah.
And they didn't have this because they had the big bodies. They thought everybody should fall over for them.
Yeah.
you know, and hey, look at me, you know, this is what the people want to see. Well, they don't. They want to see competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has to be a competitive match. And those guys were not trained properly where you could put them right in there and have a good match with them. They only knew one way to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, Vernon just ship them out to somebody else and let them handle them.
That's it.
Until they
Well,
learn.
I'm gonna give you the counterpoint to all that.
Okay.
So,
Uh-oh.
and everything he's saying is correct, is
Mhm.
in terms of the right way to go about doing something. But there would have been no road warriors if they were trained the way he's talking about, in my opinion,
Oh,
because their rawness and that attitude that came across on the screen was so raw and was so unpredictable and so savage that it wasn't a work, it was a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
They were picking people up and just destroying them.
yeah.
So
They were.
and it took years for it to turn the way to where they could make money and draw money to what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe they could have come in as and as and had as savage of an impact.
Yeah.
You can work, but if you're going to come across so raw that anybody from any walk, whether they're whatever they are, they look at them and go, "Holy crap, these guys are killing people," and they
Mm-hmm.
were for
And
real.
they were.
They were.
Yeah.
They really were. And I think I might have, I don't know if I told the story on here or not, but I mean, Jim Duggan and I worked with them in New Orleans, and when we were the tag team champions for Bill, and we were just like, like Greg and those guys. We're smart. We've been working on top, but we watched these guys destroying people. Everything we've seen, they just squash jobs. They sell nothing, whatever. And they came to the ring, and we had, back then you kayfabe, we didn't get to talk beforehand or anything. And Jim and I attacked them. We were horrible to them. Like we so expected them to try to goozle us up. We did that to them. And of
Nice.
course, we did it in a working way, but we worked so snug and we were so aggressive that they thought they got attacked like, Pearl Harbor. And they brought us to the back afterwards, and Bill never did this, but they brought us back in a kitchen that was a middle ground between the building we were in, and because they wanted to talk to us, and they loved us. They fell in love with us because we were like, they thought we were crazier than they were.
There you go.
But it was that raw savagery that they had.
Yeah.
It took years for them to dial it down, tone it down, figure out what to do business. But you got to remember, they got fed, and they were superstars in Japan doing the exact same thing, just killing people, not working, not having scientific psychology, nothing, just being, complete flipping madmen like, like Brody was and like Stan was, and, out of that mold. And not until I would say probably, the mid, probably the late '80s did they like calm down to a place to realize, and Paul realized too, that if they couldn't have angles and work with people or work programs and not
Yeah.
just come in and blow in and out and be the enforcer and that attraction that came in for like 4 weeks or 5 weeks,
Right.
the territory, blow in and out, that they could make money. Because when they signed the deal with Crockett, and I think it was 87-ish or so, Jimmy paid them crazy amount of money for back then. I think it was like $500,000 a piece, and like $350 for Paul as manager.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Back then?
There was the luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah, this is 1987, 1988. So that was huge money. But the thing that happened, and that where everybody kind of had a aha moment, was, well, now you're in the territory, and now you're not going in and out, and now you got to be able to work with the Midnight Express or the Road Warriors, or the Russians, or whoever they put you out
Rock
there
and Roll
with.
Express.
And if you don't have a program, and they started using Paul for the out on some of the times when they weren't getting their hand raised, and they started to figure out how to negotiate and navigate all that.
Yeah.
And, But back to my original statement, had they come through the system, would they have been way better technicians and everything else? 100%. But would they have been able to be as off the chain as what they came across and as raw and savage as they did? Maybe not. And it
Maybe
not
not.
made,
No.
And they may not have made that that original Road Warrior impact. When that flipping Iron Man music came on, you better have your stuff together. I don't care whether you were across the aisle from them, or you were a partner with them, or if you were in the aisle with them coming down, you better have your stuff together, because they could bump into somebody and knock them ass over tea kettle.
Yeah.
But they were, deep. They were good guys.
Mm-hmm.
They were
All
good
the
guys.
best.
They just came in and didn't realize what the sport was all about.
Well, to my generation, like I look at that, like Goldberg was like that for probably my age.
Yeah.
Like he would come in just a raw football player, not really trained in the ring. So like what he was doing, like was like legitimately like hitting people.
Well, he was, because he
Yeah.
couldn't follow his own interests. His interest was great. He came through the smoke. He blew the smoke out of his nose, and he came in there and a couple punches, kicks, and a jackhammer suplex, and it was over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he had the gazillion match streak. They're the only
Yep.
people I know that can make a streak go up 45 days in a month. But they were I mean, it was really masterful what they did with them.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Road Warriors, Bill ended up learning how to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he started out with this crazy creation they came up with, and he ended up being the smartest guy in the room when it was all over.
Heck
Yep.
yeah. Mm-hmm.